All right, Wayne L. The Root's on fire. Your Secretary of War, Wayne L. Root. This is the Wayne Street Media, and I am the loudest MAGA mouth in the world. I got a text in the break from my good friend, Governor Rob Blagojevich. I call him Blago, former governor of Illinois, Democrat governor, but now he calls himself a Trumpocrat. He's a Trump Democrat. He says Mayor Johnson declared a trans femicide state of emergency in Chicago. I just covered that story. After one trans person was murdered. Too bad he won't declare the same emergency for young black men. 39 people were shot and 6 killed on this weekend of his posting. 85% of murder victims in Chicago are black. From Rod Blagojevich, otherwise known as Blago. All right, my guest is here, Mel K, host of The Mel K Show, author of the new book, Infiltration Instead of Invasion, America Betrayed. Her website, themelkshow.com. Themelkshow.com. Mel K, welcome to the Wayne L. Root Show. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me. Very excited to be here.
So tell me about this book. I mean, well, first of all, before we even get to the book, there's clearly a communist color revolution going on in the United States, a Marxist takeover of the United States. Everything Trump does, for the most part, I mean, there's some things I disagree with, but most everything he does is fantastic, and yet the results are really not much because there's a judge standing in the way of every single thing he tries to do. There's some insurrectionist Obama, Clinton, Biden judge who says no to everything Trump wants to do. I believe they're all bought off. They're owned by China, the Chinese Communist Party, the Mexican drug cartel, the deep state, the DC swamp. What do you believe are the roots of this Marxist invasion and Marxist revolution and this communist color revolution?
Well, you know, it comes, this is a part of the reason I wrote my book is because I needed to understand the architecture that is functioning above our nation that apparently we have no control over. And the more I dug into it, the more I realized that our country essentially turned into something very different when the Dulles brothers walked into the 2 highest unelected positions in America, the Secretary of State, John Foster Dulles, and Allen Dulles, the CIA. And it's my belief that from that point forward, the State Department, USAID, CIA, National Endowment for Democracy ceased to work for the United States of America and rather became a part of the international banking cartel and global public-private partnership that is running above our nation. And frankly, Donald Trump winning in 2016 was unacceptable to these people. They had plans, I believe, before the end of World War II to have a World War III on the continent of Europe and had been planning for it for a very long time. And all of a sudden, Trump won, and this was a existential threat to the CIA and everything they've been doing with regime change for decades. And I believe that they turned the entire playbook they've been using since the 50s to regime change other countries on the United States of America. And we are still in that color revolution. And the people that are responsible for it are not being held accountable. And as long as that goes on, we are going to see them nonstop try to get in the way of everything. They do not want the United States of America to succeed. They believe in global governance. Barack Obama, as you know, signed us on to Agenda 2030 in 2015. It is a nation-state ending plan. It is a global governance, totalitarian, technocratic, global model that doesn't believe in borders, doesn't believe in nation-states, and wants to control from above. And they are not having the United States, and we the people have a voice, so we have to take it back. But I think the architecture was built long ago, and that architecture needs to be dismantled.
I believe very strongly in borders. I think we need a wall between California and the rest of the country. Especially in Nevada, where I live. We need a wall between California and Nevada. Although the good news is, I must tell you, Mel, the good news is it's kind of like Florida. You know, everyone assumed that when the whole New York and New Jersey and Connecticut moved to Florida, everybody running from COVID would be Democrats and they turn it blue. And instead, they turned it bright, bright red. Same thing's happening in South Carolina, bright, bright red. North Carolina is getting a little more red. And all of it is because the people running away were conservatives who didn't want to live in New York anymore and didn't want to follow COVID rules. And the ones coming from New York still to this day are conservatives. The ones coming from California to Las Vegas, and they're coming by the tens of thousands. They're driving prices up like you can't even believe. You know, when I got to Las Vegas 30 years ago, Mel, you could buy a house for $100,000, $150,000. And I immediately bought 2 homes and I rented them out. I bought 2 houses for like 120 and 130. And today in Summerlin, where I live, which is like the Scottsdale or the Beverly Hills, Las Vegas, we were out looking for houses, my wife and I. and I thought I'd get a really nice, bigger house than I have now for about $2 million, and everything I saw was $4 million and $5 million. That's how expensive it's to live in Las Vegas now. To live in the nice place of Las Vegas, it's millions of dollars. It's unbelievable. But it's because all these Republicans are running away from California, and they're moving to Summerlin, and they sold their houses for millions in LA, and they're buying big houses in Summerlin. So they've driven the prices up to the roof. It's really crazy. But the good news is it's proof that our philosophy works. Everybody's leaving California, New York, New Jersey. Why? Because liberalism and socialism don't work. Why do you think rich people are running for their lives?
Well, we have to also understand that this is not the Democrat Socialists of America and their partners at CARE and Muslim Brotherhood are running all over the country. They don't even care about the federal elections. They're going after the mayor's races, the city council, the school boards.
And winning.
Yeah, and they're winning, but they're winning, though. We have to remember they are aligned with Progressive International. They are aligned with the Center for American Progress. They are aligned with global socialism. It's exactly what is going on in the EU. We're seeing they all went over to Spain. I don't know why we are allowing the Democrat Socialist of America to run at all or to be a party. We don't allow communists. They are revolutionary Marxists that don't believe in borders. They don't believe in jail. They don't believe in
police.
Anything.
They don't believe in police.
No, and frankly, it's our education system, though. Everything I'm telling you, this is what I found. Everything post-World War II was geared towards a third world war and the controlled demolition of the United States. And had Donald Trump not won, we would be way into it. So the hatred of Donald Trump is really, as I've said to him myself, he would say, they're not after me, they're after you, and I'm in the way. The truth is they're not after America, they're after the world, and America is in the way. And that is who is pumping up these revolutionary Marxists, not Americans. Yet, people think that. And then there's so many Democrats that don't even know. They're so brainwashed from the MK Ultra operation of Trump being the problem that they will vote against anything that Trump does just because it's Trump. It is the most insane, situation we have right now. And they'll just vote D. They don't realize that the Democrat Socialists are no different than the National Socialist Worker Party of Germany of the 30s.
Germany, Nazi
These
Germany,
are the same thing. It's the same thing. It's the same money.
And Mel, I love Trump, and I'm a friend of Trump, and I had an Oval Office visit recently, and I love the guy, but that doesn't mean I can't criticize him. I'm going to give you a major criticism of Trump right now. For some reason, when you talk about like brainwashing, he doesn't realize that the COVID vaccine and his stolen election in 2020 are completely connected. And COVID and the 2020 are completely connected. He has no clue about this. And he doesn't understand all these Democrats that are acting so crazy and rabid and nutty and mentally ill and mentally deranged have all taken 20 of the jabs, and they're all nuts. They've lost their minds. They're not. He doesn't understand that. And he doesn't understand that Dr. Fauci wanted COVID here because he was working with Democrats and the Chinese Communist Party to destroy Trump's chance of re-election. All of it is connected, and he has no idea about this, and I don't know why. Do you agree with me? First of all, let's start with that.
Yeah, I agree with you 1,000%. I think it's a little bigger than that, too. In my book, I dig into 44 to 54, the Dulles brothers changing the world, particularly in the United States.
Tell me about that. Tell me about that. I don't know anything about that. I didn't even know they were Dulles brothers. I never heard that story. Obviously, I know the Dulles Airport, but I didn't know who was named after. So one was the head of the CIA, and the other one was what now? Secretary of State?
The head of the Department of State. And but what you have to know before that is during World War II, they were both in Switzerland. They both were lawyers on Wall Street at Sullivan and Cromwell. And then yes, exactly. And Sullivan and Cromwell represented the international banks and the international multinational corporations. So
all these guys are the same, I swear to God. They're all the same.
And they haven't changed.
I'm a son of a butcher, Mel. I'm a son of a butcher. My father had a white butcher outfit and bloodstains. I don't know from these white shoe law firms. And I did get into Columbia University, and I applied for Goldman Sachs, and I never heard back from them. I applied to Merrill Lynch, never heard back from them. Because they only have like 4 openings in the whole country, and they give it to 4 billionaire sons. No normal person gets these jobs. They're all brainwashed billionaire liberals. It's the weirdest thing, and they hate real people. And that's why I never had a chance at these jobs. I never understood that at the time.
No, and they and while they were in
Cromwell.
Switzerland, which was obviously not neutral, they created this international banking infrastructure and then gave all themselves immunity. They created the CIA and gave it, opaque budget, no oversight, no nothing, and then they walk into the two highest unelected positions in America, the Secretary of State and the CIA under Eisenhower. And I believe that from that point on, the State Department, USAID, the CIA, National Endowment for Democracy ceased to even work for the United States. I think they were all reconfigured to be a tentacle of the international banking cartel and the global public-private partnership. And at this point, I don't think the CIA ever worked for the United States. I think they always worked to protect the international infrastructure of endless wars for profit. And I believe Donald Trump was an existential threat to them. Not
bankers,
I
right?
don't think people.
They're
yes.
protecting bankers, the Rothschilds, the Bilderbergs. Those are all the
Yes.
people they protect all day long, right?
Yep. The endless war for profit model. They got away with it World War I, World War II. They were all ready for World War III. I believe before the end of World War II, they were preparing it. And in comes Donald Trump to ruin everything. And frankly, thank God for us and the world. But at this point, we have to be honest. The CIA is very involved on our soil and has been running the color revolution here since 2016. They don't even deny it. They have an NGO called The Steady State. And this guy, Cash, who runs it, he said that when Donald Trump won, 150 CIA agents that did the regime change operations over with, of course, Norm Eisen in the EU, essentially turned the entire playbook here and wrote a letter to General Flynn, apparently, before Donald Trump even was inaugurated, saying that the CIA thought Trump was an existential threat to the post-World War II foreign policy. Yeah, thank God. And then they all said that Flynn ignored them. The guy laughs. He says, then Flynn's gone. Then I sent it to McMaster. He ignored it. And then we decided we had to do something. So all roads lead to Langley with what's going on since 2016. And if we don't deal with the lawfare people at Brookings, like Norm Eisen, Mark Elias, all these people that have been running this, the Obama administration, a lot of people don't realize, Brennan was the head of the CIA in Saudi Arabia for 12 years. He's the only intelligence guy that went with Obama, who's a Manchurian candidate.
Isn't it true that he became a Muslim, that he converted to Islam? Is that not
That's
true?
what they say. That's what they say. And
how
and it's not a
bizarre is
surprise.
that? How
But also
bizarre
both-
is that?
Both Brennan and Comey in their youth were communists. I mean,
Right.
it's just so crazy. This is like looking at George H.W. Bush and realizing his father was indicted for working with the Nazis, and then he ends up running the CIA. I mean, we
Right.
have been dealing since the 50s with such a betrayal to the American people. And frankly, we have paid for it all, our taxpayers, and they set it up this way. So we paid for the entire Cold War. We paid for the Reconstruction after the war. We paid for the entire war on terror. Both wars have no defined enemy. And then we paid for the entire fraud that is the climate change that kicked off in the 90s. And that's trillions and trillions of U.S. taxpayer dollars missing. And I think most people don't know. The IMF, the World Bank, the Bank of International Settlements, and all their banks, 63 banks, have complete immunity since 1945. And
Just like
we can't
Big Pharma.
look into them. Yeah,
Just like the vaccine
just like
companies.
The UN. Just like the,
We
I
just
mean,
give everyone
Donald
immunity. It's great. Oh, my,
and to
unbelievable.
protect themselves. They have no oversight. They run above our country, and they've been
And no
running the
risk.
color revolution.
No risk.
Unless we
After they
decide
destroy
that
everyone's
they don't.
life, no risk. Unbelievable.
Right, right, right.
Why is the timing of this book important? Now, let's mention the name of the book real quick. It is the Infiltration Instead of Invasion. America Betrayed, 1944 to 1954. So it's the post-World War decade, and it's mostly about the Dulles brothers and how they put things in place to destroy our country from their government perch. I guess you could say, I assume the Dulles brothers were the antithesis and the enemies of Joe McCarthy, I would guess, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, bigger than that, it wasn't just them. It was also McCloy, all these different people that we should know their names, Harriman. I just believe that these people, that they built an architecture that we are still living under, and that's the reason Donald Trump can't get a lot done. That's the reason we have foreign entities on our soil. I don't know if you know, the IMF and the World Bank on our soil in D.C., the United States has no jurisdiction over them. This 1945 international Organization Immunity Act, and then the 47 CIA Act, and then the 49 CIA Secrecy Act. If we removed the three of them, we might actually take back our sovereignty and independence. And that's why it's important, because if you read the 27 grievances, that is where we are. And I believe the enemy is above our nation and can be dismantled if we know its existence is real and it's there and it can be done. And I really hope Trump just pulls a Lincoln at some point and says, you know what, I'm going to dismantle the whole thing.
The things you're talking about remind me, I had a guest on, Dane Wigington. He's like the world's expert on chemtrails,
yeah, I know.
Right? And we were talking about the fact that the sky's above us in Vegas, as an example, and all my fans say in every city they're in, even in the country, in the middle of Kentucky, right, in the middle of a rural area, they say it's clear in the morning, it's blue, it's sunny, and then all of a sudden, all these planes crisscross and all this crap is sprayed, and then the air is foggy and they're breathing in poison. And I asked him, if he's such an expert on chemtrails, why isn't Trump and RFK Jr. stopping chemtrails? You know what his answer was? Because they don't run the country. There's someone above them that runs the country. And if they tried to stop chemtrails, they would, I believe he said, they would both be assassinated in a day. Is it really that bad that Donald Trump doesn't run the country? Is it really that bad? Wow.
Yeah, they protect themselves, and they're very well protected, and they seem unafraid. But as long as we are allowing this, because what you said is true, not only do I believe that the Transition Integrity Project group, led by Anita Dunn and Rosa Brooks over at Georgetown and Norm Eisen and them, they gamed out how they could get Trump out of office in 2020. They also had Event 201, which, of course, USAID and CIA paid for. CIA and USAID paid for the COVID. And frankly, it is all connected to the 2020 election. And the one thing I don't understand is why they haven't indicted the 51 intelligence agents that conspired to defraud the people in the United States of America before the election. That is the biggest election fraud ever.
Mel, why didn't they indict Dr. Fauci? He's killed millions of people. And before he killed millions, he killed orphans and dogs, beagles. This guy is Dr. Mengele. I don't understand why we haven't hung him. He needs to be hung after a Nuremberg trial, and nobody's doing a damn thing.
I know. I don't get it, but I do believe that it is because these people have some kind of immunity. Yeah, and they have immunity. They gave themselves immunity. And the only way that we can fight this is to have Trump rescind the immunity, but I don't even know if he knows that they are all immune, and that's what's going on. I also cannot believe that nobody has been charged with sedition and treason. I mean, John Brennan and the entire crew, back to Hillary Clinton, it's sedition and treason. And the craziest part, Wayne, is that it was a global coup against the United States run by the CIA, MI6, and the Five Eyes nations to overthrow the duly elected president of the United States in 2016, and no one has been held accountable. If America no longer acknowledges sedition and treason as something real, then we don't have a country. So somebody's got to figure it out.
There's sedition and treason every day. I think Karen Bass should be under arrest right now for sedition and treason.
Me too.
When mayors say we will not comply with ICE, they're saying insurrection. We don't follow the laws of the United States. You know what I said the other day? I said, I used to live in L.A. Thank God I've been gone for a while. I've ran away from that place. But I lived there 15 years. Let's say I woke up one day and I said, I don't feel like paying California state taxes. They would put me in jail in 5 minutes. But a freaking, and if this wasn't a national thing, I would use a different word than freaking. But an effing illegal alien can say, I don't believe I have to comply with the law. And nobody cares. I don't get it. What's the difference? Why can't I say I'm not paying my taxes anymore? I've had it. I refuse to pay them. But you'll notice, and as I say that, I realized I'm right. They're really coming after people who don't pay their taxes in California. They just announced some comedian, Carlos Mencia or something like that. He's an Hispanic comedian. He didn't pay like $3 million in taxes, and they're putting him in jail. So, I mean, how come that's bad, but an illegal alien doesn't have to comply with the law?
Because they have used the illegal aliens as weapons against us. It has been the controlled demolition of the United States of America once they put Obama in there. And the truth of the matter is that the American people don't even know, because we are allowing this twisted intelligence operation that is the media to control the minds of people. We have been through a psychological warfare. You know, I look back to Colonel Aquino and Mind Wars. That is what we are under. And until somebody breaks that, listen, all I know is Donald Trump is going to have to, I pray to God, do what Lincoln had to do. You know, Lincoln had to do what he had to do, and he called the Insurrection Act, and he arrested a lot of people, and he proved that they were guilty. And I mean, that's, I feel like, where we are. And the whole No Kings thing is another operation of the same transition integrity
Communist
project
color
people.
revolution, right.
Yeah. And it's John Podesta, Center for American Progress, who, by the way,
Same
under the
people.
AutoPen Mafia gave John Podesta $300 billion to spend. Where's that money? You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, where's Samantha Power's
Mel,
money?
it's the
that
same
she sent
people all
out?
the time. It's the Soros
it's-
family. It's that billionaire, was it Singham, the guy in China? It's all the same people that are literally out in the open trying to destroy the United States of America. All right, look, I got to go
1000%.
because if we don't take an ad break, I lose my funding here. So I got to take an ad break. But I want to mention your book once again. Mel K, the host of the Mel K Show, author of the new book, Infiltration Instead of Invasion, America Betrayed, 1944 to 1954. As you see, she's a master of knowing everything going on, all the names behind the scenes. You're a bright lady, man. You must have an IQ of 150 or above. Her website is themelkshow.com, themelkshow.com. Wayne Root is just a fun guy and semi-comedian, and you are a genius. And I appreciate all the vast knowledge and memory you've got of all these names and all this history. Very interesting. We'll have you back again. I really appreciate you as a guest.
Thank you, sir. You're fun. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Mel. Bye-bye. We'll be right back.